I'm gonna give you 11 key questions that you can utilize for weight selection at an Olympic weightlifting competition, and we're gonna start right now. What's up, everybody? It's Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com, and if this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in becoming a better weightlifter, you want to become a better weightlifting coach, you want to become a better athlete, you want to get stronger, you want to be more explosive, make sure that you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell so we can help you become a champion. So in the sport of Olympic weightlifting, one of the hardest things to do as a coach is making the right attempt selections. It's putting the right weight on the bar. And a lot of coaches will sit there and second guess themselves. They'll wonder if they've chose the right weight. They wonder if they chose the wrong weight. They'll sit there and wonder, did I just ruin this athlete's career by picking the wrong weight? And all these thoughts go through your head. You start to question every little thing that you're doing. And you start to think, man, I'm an idiot. I just ruined everything for my lifter. They were in the best shape of their life, and they went out and they went 0 for 6. These are thoughts that a lot of Olympic weightlifting coaches have. And that comes down to choosing weights in a weightlifting competition can be difficult. And that's why we're gonna go through those 11 key questions that you can ask yourself and your lifter that'll help you select the right attempts. That first key question that I like to ask myself is this lifter automatic? Do they approach the bar with confidence? Are they automatic in training? Do they rarely miss in training? Are they always on point? Are they automatic with their movement as well? If they're automatic with their movement and they're automatic with the weights in training that you're selecting, now you're gonna have more confidence in what you can put on the bar. It throws a lot of variables out the window because you can take what you've done in training leading into that competition, and now you can build off of those classic warm-ups that you've done for the last couple weeks, and you can hit the right attempts. And that leads us into that second key question, and this just also goes into knowing your lifter, but again, is the lifter inconsistent? If the lifter is inconsistent, it makes things a little bit more exciting. It makes things a little bit more variable based, right? You can sit there and say like, well, in training they usually do this, but they also typically do this. You can be a little bit less aggressive with where your openers are gonna be. With an inconsistent lifter, I always recommend picking a lower opener to get that lifter into the competition. They have their confidence established, and then they can steamroll everybody. But it's important, if they're a little bit more inconsistent, you know that ahead of time so that you can pick the right opening attempt. That third key factor goes into a little bit more of that athlete typing. Are they fidgety in the back? You know, if you take a lifter and in training they're usually sitting there all stoic, maybe they're high wired, they're a type 3 athlete, they're a little bit more of a meathead, but they still prepare mentally between attempts in training. Now you get into a meet where the intensity starts to increase. They're biting their fingernails. You'll see them just sawing away on their fingernails. They're starting to fidget with their tape. They take their tape off, they put their tape on, they take their knee wraps off, they put their knee wraps back on. They're fidgeting with everything. They tighten their shoes all the time. And this is not a standard protocol that they do on a regular basis. This is something that they just do in competition. If they're fidgety, now you've got to understand as a coach, they aren't confident, they're nervous, and you've got to provide positive support. You've got to make sure that that opening attempt gets them into the meet so that you can alleviate all of that stress that they're building upon themselves and help them deal with it. Don't get mad at them for being fidgety. Understand that they're fidgety and know how to deal with that issue. That fourth key question is, are they asking you weird questions? I know this sounds absurd, but if I have a lifter who starts to ask me questions of, hey, what are they opening up at? Hey, what are they doing? Hey, what attempt are they at on the board right now? My lifters don't need to know anything except when they should take their warm-ups. That's it. All you need to focus on is yourself as a lifter, but as a coach, you need to be aware, are they starting to ask a lot of questions? This sort of piggybacks that fidgety question. If they're asking a lot of questions, that should send a flag to you. You should start to be a little bit more aware as a coach and be like, all right, they're not feeling overly confident. Let's see how their warm-ups are. We're planning to open up at 100, but based off of their last warm-up in the back at 95, if they walk a little bit, we're gonna open up at 97 or 98, get them into the competition, and then see how they feel after that opener. If they're still asking a lot of questions, then that second attempt in the snatch, try to be less aggressive. You give them those 2 lifts. The first 2 lifts are extremely important. If you can get a lifter, the first attempt and the second attempt as successful makes, now they're gonna start to ask less questions. They're gonna be more confident in their actions, and they're gonna feel more dominant getting back onto the platform for clean and jerks. The 5th key behind weight selection is more about a statement. Okay, we've got to lay out proper cues. We've got to lay out proper attempts ahead of time. So choosing your first attempt or second attempt also goes back to, what are your warm-ups looking like? What are their warm-up executions looking like? How are they handling different cues? If you know the type of athlete that you're dealing with, now you can start to sit there and say, hey, I'm gonna give them this cue, I'm gonna give them this technical cue, this negative cue, this positive cue, whatever it might be. I'm gonna see how they respond, and if they respond really well to this positive cue, I'm gonna give them another positive cue, and if they respond well to that, well, now we can be more aggressive going into that opener. If we've got somebody who we wanna open up at 100 and they take 95 or 96 as their last warm-up and they smash it, maybe we take 100, and instead of taking 104 on the next attempt, if they smash 100, we can go to 105 because they're starting to feel really good. They're looking really good in warm-ups, and you can utilize those cues as a directional source for yourself as the coach. Now, if the opposite happens, you can also sit there and take a little bit more mild jumps. But again, it goes back to attempt 1, attempt 2 in the snatch. Those are the key attempts to developing confidence in competition. That 6th key factor in choosing your attempts in a weightlifting competition is understand how they build to big lifts in training. I like to utilize and practice those attempts on a regular basis the last 3 to 5 weeks of training. I like to do the exact same attempts. So again, using our hypothetical, if we're opening at 100 kilos in the snatch, I want to sit there and go bar 50 kilos, 70 kilos, 80 kilos, 90 kilos, 94 kilos, 97 kilos attempt. Now, if we know that that's built into them, they're automatic with it and they look really good, and in the past they've looked the exact same way, and on that day they've snatched 112 kilos, well, now you can start to bump them a little bit. Now you can start to play around with that number. But again, that first attempt should be a simple weight that they can go out, they can smash, they can build confidence, and then lead into that second attempt. Number 7, this key factor here plays a huge role in how I choose almost every athlete's first attempt, and it comes down to what is their most recent big triple. So most recent would be the last 5 to 6 weeks. I want to know, what have they tripled? What have they hit as like a big triple PR? Okay, so if I've got somebody, again, going to 100 kilos in the snatch, if they've hit 103 from a triple in the last 3 weeks, we're probably able to open at 103 if they're feeling good, if they're grooving, if they're building, if they're not fidgety, if they're not asking ridiculous questions and everything looks good. We can be more aggressive. We can go hit that big triple. And I like to utilize a good, strong triple as that first attempt. Number 8 key factor here is, what's their big double? Hey, 2 weeks ago, he hit a double at 110, and then he hit another double at 112. He hit a double at 112. Maybe we don't need to open at 100. Now we hit that 103 triple opener, and then we can sit there and start to say, hey, he's doubled 110. He looks amazing. His warm-ups looked on point. He's in a good mood. He's feeling confident. Let's go right to 110. It might be a 7-kilo jump. That might be crazy. But he's got the confidence because he's doubled this recently in training. So oftentimes a very simple factor that you can utilize is use the first attempt in the snatch as what their big triple is. Use the second attempt as what their big double is. Okay? And that leads us into that 9th key factor. Now you can sit there, what's their training PR in the snatch? What are they doing in training? Now you can sit there and say their training PR in the snatch is 115. Well, now you can sit there and you can establish their triples 103. Let's open there. Their big doubles 110. Let's take a risk and go to 110 and try and push some stuff here. They smash 110. Well, we're going right to 115. That's their training PR. Let's match the training PR in competition. You can utilize their training numbers as long as their weight is within 2 kilos of their body weight class. You can utilize these training numbers to help you set up the first, second, and third attempt in the snatch. That 10th key question that I like to utilize is, are they a snatcher or are they a clean and jerker? Because this helps me establish also that third attempt in the snatch. If they're a clean and jerker, that means that I can come out with a ton of confidence and smash numbers on those 3 attempts in the clean and jerk. If they're a snatcher, I'm gonna be more aggressive on that third attempt in the snatch because that's where they perform the best. Then when we go into our 4th attempt, our first attempt of the clean and jerk, we're gonna just try and get the confidence in that lift in the competition. If they're more of a snatcher, we've gotta make sure they get at least 2 clean and jerks in. That third clean and jerk, we've gotta go for broke. But if they're clean and jerkers, we're gonna be a little bit more hesitant in the snatch. We're gonna take a little bit less aggressive jumps. We're gonna try to get as much as we can out of the snatch. I look at it as the first half and the second half in a football game. If it's the first half and I've got somebody who is a clean and jerker, I wanna get the field goal. I wanna get those extra points in the first half because I know in the second half in the clean and jerk, we can go ham. Clean and jerkers tend to be automatic all of the time. So it's important to understand, are you dealing with a snatcher or are you dealing with a clean and jerker, and then utilize those aspects to influence your aggressiveness in the snatch or the clean and jerk. Before we get into that last key factor behind all of these decision-making processes that are going through your brain, we try to solve all of these answers with our parabolic periodization textbook and course. We like to lay out attempts, we like to lay out exercises, strength movements, variations based around the athlete type, because that is what goes into peaking athletes properly. If you want more information about this, you can click on the link down below. You can head over to garagestrength.com and you can pick up your parabolic periodization textbook and course to help you become a better weightlifting coach. Now that final key aspect, and this comes down to the clean and jerk. And I've spent a lot of time talking about the snatch, and that's because the snatch is what sets up the entire competition. You have to understand, meets are won with the clean and jerk. It can be very easy to make up a lot of ground in the clean and jerk. If you've got somebody who's more of a snatcher, they might lose 7 or 8 kilos compared to their clean and jerk counterpart. If you're thinking we can win this competition, you must be aggressive in the clean and jerk. And I'll use Haley Reichert for an example here. In 2018, she was still 18 years old. And we knew that she had to clean and jerk 97 kilos to make the senior Pan Am championship team. And we took the attempts, 90 kilos, 94 kilos. 94 kilos was a huge attempt for her. It was 2 kilos under her PR. And she wasn't feeling that good in the back. We were at the Arnold, it was a packed house. She was nervous, she was young, but she knew she could make this team. She knew she could beat the girl who was the other 48 to make the senior Pan Am championship team. And we set it up. I told her 90, 94, then we're taking 97, and you've got to give me everything you've got. We knew we had to be aggressive, but we knew we're dealing with, she's a clean and jerker. She wins competitions because she's a clean and jerker. And that's exactly what happened. She took 97, she went out in front of a packed house, she smashed that last attempt. She qualified for the Senior Pan Am Championship team as an 18-year-old, and she solidified herself as one of the best up-and-coming junior American weightlifters in the entire country, because we knew we could be aggressive with those clean and jerk attempts. So if you want more information about Olympic weightlifting and you want to know more about programming, you can click on the link down below. You can head over to garagestrength.com and pick up your parabolic periodization textbook and course. If you want more videos about Olympic weightlifting, you can click on this card right here. Until next time, guys, peace.